Hello, dear students. I am back with the second part of this chapter, and that is the nationalism in India. This is the third chapter of history book, but we are considering at the second chapter is. Now we'll start our part second. Till now, I told you about India's condition during British Raj or British government time. Then I told you that how people were having a kind of ray of hope, which was associated with Mahatma Gandhi, that he will come to our country and then he will give us freedom or kind of thing. Okay, so Gandhiji participated in the movement very nicely, and then he started many movements uh, in our country. So, as I told in the last video, we will discuss in this one the First World War, Khilafat, and non-cooperation movement. I told you about First World War. That First World War started in 1914 till 18. It was. Then at that time, British government needed a lot of resources from our country. They wanted people who can fight for them in World War in different part of the world. Second thing, they wanted money, so they imposed new taxes on the people of India. The people of India were actually mainly were farmers. They were facing the problems in the past, and then when they increased the taxes, they become very weak. And at a moment when crop failed in 1920 or 21, so that time people started dying around according to the government records it was only 1.3 crore people died there, but the really will know that the real data can be doubled, and around 2 to 3 crore people died there. So that was the very horrid timing of British Raj. The idea of Satyagraha, I told you in the last video that what Gandhiji brought with him. Okay, he had three moments in 1917 in Champaran, Bihar. Second was in Kheda in Gujarat, and third one was also in Gujarat in Ahmedabad. And all these movements become successful. So now we have come on this point 1.2. This is Rowlatt Act. Okay, Rowlatt Act will know that what is the meaning of Rowlatt Act. I hope you studied this in class 9th also, in 8th also. Beta, when Gandhiji was getting these successes, I can say these small successes. So that time government of India of that time, it means the British government, they imposed new tax, new act. Act means new law in 1919. So what they did, because many people were coming against the government, they were making people aware about these all things, that how they are ruling on us and other things. So government decided to make a new law that was called Rowlatt Act. And according to this Rowlatt Act, what happened, beta? According to this Rowlatt Act, government can government can arrest anyone. Okay, so government can arrest anyone. It means political prisoner. It means if anyone raising the voice against the government, and they can put that person into jail without any trial. It means without showing him in the court. Okay, just capture him and send it to jail for minimum 2 years. So that was very we can say uh, bad situation for self independence of the people. And Mahatma Gandhi wanted non-violence civil disobedience movement against such these unjust laws, so which would start by the battle on 6th April. So Gandhiji started his movement, that is a civil disobedience movement, in on 6th April. So what happened after that? Why this Rowlatt Act become a kind of very memorable thing in our history? Few people were few nahi, it means many people were doing the protest against this. So what government did, government started to suppress them. Suppress, it means they wanted to, okay, they wanted to suppress them by imposing this tax, or sorry, this act. Okay, so what happened? Okay, so people started organize rallies. Okay, and workers went on strike. They did not go to the railway workshops. So shop closed. People were coming in against of this law. So British administration decided कि भाई we have to suppress them. We should not come them up. Okay, so just because of this, local leaders were picked up from the Amritsar. In Amritsar, two leaders, important leaders were there in Amritsar, Punjab. So they were sent to jail. So Gandhiji was also sent into jail, was barred from the entering Delhi on April 10th. The police in Amritsar fired on the peaceful procession, provoking widespread attack on banks, post office and railway. Martial law was imposed. So, bit of what happened, the people were talking about this, or people were taking the different steps for stopping this, or for stopping this act. But what happened that they started, it means British India, British government, they started sending people jail. So what happened कि भाई government uh, imposed a law that is called martial law. Now in the normal language it is called this 144, dhara 144 in Hindi we called it. So this law is called martial law, where uh, army or police take the responsibility of everything. So in Amritsar, a general was there, his name was General Dyer. He took command. What he did then, now I want to mention a date, and that was 13th April. 13th April 1919. 13th April is celebrated in Punjab, especially in Punjab. 13th April is celebrated as a Baisakhi, a festival of farmers. So people gathered in a big park that is called Jallianwala Bagh. So they all people came to Jallianwala Bagh, and they were not having any arms or different things. They were only protesting, or they gathered there for celebrating this uh, festival. So Mr. General Dyer, he came. Then annual Baishakhi fair was there, na. So General Dyer came there, and he told to his people to kill them. So entered in the area, blocked the exit point, and opened fire on the crowd, killing hundreds of people. So according to government record, 379 people were died there. But as we know, okay, the government analysis or government records are not right. Around thousand of people were died there. So this situation, or this incident created a different kind of agitation against British people in India. People, as the new Jallianwala spread, crowd took the street in many North Indian towns. They started strike, clash with the police, and attack of the government buildings. The government responded with the brutal repression. So government, it means the British people, they started brutally beating to the people, seeking humiliation, and terrorize people. So they made people afraid also. Satyagrahi, those who were satyagrahis who were asking for a freedom or kind of thing. So they made down on the road, okay, crawl on the street, and said them to do the salute to them. Okay, so that people were frozen village around Gujranwala in Punjab, now in Pakistan, were bombed. Seeing violence spread, Mahatma Gandhi called off the movement. Which movement? That same non-cooperation movement. Okay, while the Rowlatt Satyagraha had been a widespread movement, it was still limited mostly in cities and towns. So we all know, as we what they are telling in this para, they are telling कि भाई the non-cooperation movement was going on that time and it became violence just because of Jallianwala Bagh and what happened after that. So Gandhiji thought by this movement was also only in the towns and cities, but now he wanted to launch this movement in villages also. And one more thing, the only few people were the part of that, and especially Muslim people or Muslim League was not the part of this that time non-cooperation movement na. So they were not the part, only Hindus were taking the part in that. So what he wanted the people also from Muslim community come in this movement. So he got an idea or just he got a chance. What happened? Now listen very carefully. I'm going to explain this Khilafat movement. Okay, so what happened in First World War? There is a country that is called Turkey. We all know about Turkey, na? So Turkey was ruled by Ottoman. Ottoman it means the Muslim kings. And who was the king? King was Khalifa. Khalifa. Now who was Khalifa? Khalifa was Islamic spiritual guru, spiritual guru of Islam. है ना? So what he did? So he was also fighting. He was against of British. The British attack on Turkey and they captured him. Okay, they arrested him. Khalifa. Khalifa, the guru of Islamic world. Okay, so all Muslim countries or Muslim people became very, we can say, angry against British. How they can arrest our guru? Okay, so uh, in India also people started protesting against this. So Khilafat committee was made. Khilafat committee was made. Okay, so Khilafat committee was included all Muslim leaders in Bombay in March 1919. A young generation of Muslim leaders like Muhammad Ali, two brothers were there, Muhammad Ali, Shaukat Ali, being discussing with Mahatma Gandhi about the possibility of united mass action on issue. So they wanted to come with Mahatma Gandhi for fighting this kind of battle by the movement, है ना? So Gandhiji saw an opportunity to bring the Muslim under the umbrella of unified national movement. So at the Calcutta session Congress in September 1920, he convinced the leader of the need to start a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat as well as for Swaraj. So like this, the Muslim leader also came with Gandhiji with Congress, and they both started fighting for Swaraj or the full independence. Okay, so I hope you understand this Khilafat movement. If you don't understand, you can give me message in my uh, comment box. Second thing is that you can listen it again also. Now 1.3, why non-cooperation? By what is non-cooperation? Non-cooperation means don't do any kind of help of British people. How they were ruling on our country? They were ruling on our country by taking the help from us. Okay, if their army was there, it is the conflicting point that Gandhiji never talk about army. He never said army people leave the British army. That was his biggest minus point in my opinion. So what he did, he said teachers who were teaching in the government schools by leave the schools, don't help them. He told to students by don't go in the government schools. Uh, Advocates who were doing the who were fighting their cases there, helping British. He said no, don't do this. Okay, so in simple meaning, he told people कि भाई we should not help them, non-cooperation, do not do any cooperation with them. From where this idea came? This idea came from his famous book Hind Swaraj, 1919. Very important question. Last year this came in board. In board, how it was by Gandhiji wrote which book. So four book name was there, one Hind Swaraj is there. Sometimes they ask by from the this non-cooperation idea came the Hind Swaraj. Okay, so like this. So Hind Swaraj was written by Gandhiji in 1909. So in this book Gandhiji said one thing. He said if we stop doing the help of British people, so within 1 year we can make them compel, okay, we can force them to leave our country. If nobody will help them, so how they will sustain in the country? No, no, that was okay. So Indians and had survived because this cooperation, okay, because what they are saying, by British people only surviving in India just because of help of our country and people. So if Indian refused to cooperate, to help, British rule in India would collapse within a year and Swaraj would come. That was the idea of Gandhiji. So what people did, how this movement started. So by Gandhiji proposed that the movement should unfold in stage. It should begin with the surrender of titles. Surrender of titles, it means the rich people or different people were having different titles given by the government, like we can say Ravindranath Tagore. Okay, he was having the title of sir and knighthood. Okay, so he left those titles and back to the government. Okay, the just we can say boycott, it means not to use of the service, civil services, army, police. Okay, don't help them. Court, legislative councils, schools and foreign goods. The foreign goods, same as we are right now, we are opposing the Chinese things, clothes and other things. So that time government said, by if we stop helping the British in things, and we should, if we stop the purchasing these things, so and make our things ourselves, so we can save our country. Okay, so then in the case of government used repression, government also become very aggressive against the people through the summer 1920. Mahatma Gandhi, Shaukat Ali. Okay, so they went different part of the country. They started people asking for joining movement, this movement, non-cooperation movement. Many within the Congress were, however, concerned about the proposals. They were reluctant to buy the council elections, boycott the council election. Now, listen. Now, what is it? Actually, that time also, British also held some elections in India. Okay, so Congress party was the main party that time. They boycott. They said we will not fight the election because we are the part of the movement. Many parties supported them, but few parties were there who thought now this is the time when we can show our presence. So we will fight in the election and we will win. Okay, and many person from in Congress also, they also wanted to fight the election. So kind of conflict was there everywhere. Slowly this movement started become big. Okay, so now people started joining this. Finally the Congress session at Nagpur in 1920, compromise was worked out and non-cooperation program was adopted. Everyone started following this. How did this movement finishes unfold? Who participated in it? How did the different social groups conceive of the idea of non-cooperation? Major questions these are. So as we can see in this picture, okay, people were gathered. They what they did, if they were having any foreign good, so they burned that. And this charkha, as we can see, this spindle, so this become a kind of new symbol of self reliance, atmanirbharta. Okay, so the boycott of foreign goods cloth, okay, foreign clothes, July 1922. Okay, now people started using the cloth which is made in India. Okay, so that was the point. When we will discuss other points in next part. I hope you understand this. Okay, if you have any doubt in it, so I'll tell you. Thank you.